Oops.
Three, two, one, live.
Welcome to the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast with Sean Hilsdon and Brian Williams. You can find us at www.liftheavyrunlong.com, on Twitter and Instagram at liftrunlong. Also, feel free to email me directly at the address wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. If you're not a member of our Facebook group, you should be, because we want you to be there. Search for Lift Heavy Run Long Community and request to join right now. My name is Wilson Horrell. I am one of your hosts. I'd like to remind you that the Lift Heavy Run Long podcast is not censored.
Boom.
And we have changed our lyrical rating. Isn't that right?
Yes, we
Rev?
did.
To, what does it say? Explicit
It
lyrics.
says parental advisory, explicit lyrics.
And then when I opened it up on iTunes, it had like the red E.
Oh, did it?
On there,
Ooh,
yeah.
I like that even better.
Yep.
Now we're really gangsta.
So we're officially...
Dr. Dre doesn't even
Is
have that.
there like a number of F-bombs a minute should be dropping, like for us to maintain that?
No, it's just he entered it on there. So you don't have to drop any, which is the beauty of it.
The only reason I read somewhere that someone had changed their label or did not change their label and then started cussing a whole lot and they got in trouble for it or something happened. And God knows, I don't want to get... I don't want Apple to ignore us even more than they already do.
Right?
True that.
Get scolded by the bot.
Right.
Maybe that's how we get more attention.
We have an app.
We
Lift
do.
Heavy Run Long has an app. For $3.99, you can be on that app. And with that $3.99 a month, you'll be added to the Lift Heavy Run Long community. You'll get 3 body weight strength exercises every week, 4 barbell strength exercises, and 4 WODs. You will also have access to the greatest trainer in the world, Ms. Valerie Hunt of RunRx.fit. For $9.99 a month, you can have access to all the programs that Lift Heavy Run Long has to offer. Everything from 5K programs to 100-mile programs to triathlons to Spartan races. Whatever it is that you're into, chances are we have a program for it. The goal of Lift Heavy Run Long is to bring fitness to as many people as possible, as inexpensively as possible. So if you or someone you know doesn't have $3.99 a month to spare, but you think that fitness will enhance your life, then please email me at wilson@liftheavyrunlong.com, and we're happy to add you to the app free of charge. I have sitting next to me a raging hot, highly intelligent woman who has her stuff together. Dr. Amanda Kimsey Horrell, jacked and tan, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I guess I have my stuff together, but my bed looks like I don't, with all my closet thrown up on it.
You have your stuff together. Your idea of a mess is a folded pile stacked neatly in the corner.
But it needs to be put up,
Well, I understand that.
and I can't bring myself to put it all up because I'm lazy.
Well, you're not lazy. You have a lot to do. You have
Life gets in the way sometimes.
I just want to put up my clothes. I don't mind washing and folding them. I don't want to put them up.
That is funny that of all the things that you handle, like putting up your clothes is just not one of those
So
things.
terrible. Ugh.
Now, you feel the way about clothes the way that I feel about everything else. So I understand. Next to Amanda, we have Brian Williams. Everybody knows Brian Williams. You've been on the podcast way back. You were on like episode 4.
That's why everybody knows who he is.
That's exactly
that
right.
it? From that one episode, that one day. Boy, we had some listeners. didn't
Nobody
we?
knew who he was, and then all of a sudden, now
Fame and
everybody-
fortune.
His
It's
name.
amazing.
signing
And look at you now.
Yeah, look at me now. You can be just like me.
It was because his name literally echoed through the shop over and over.
That's right.
Brian Williams. That audio. Some of y'all probably know him. At least a few thousand of you know him from the Big Hill Pond Walking Tall 25K and 50K, where he is the race director, along with his cohort, Sean Hilsdon.
What's up, people?
who is also a former podcast guest
And a cohort.
and a cohort. I'm not 100% what a cohort means, but I hear people say it and it sounded good.
Yep. I'll be one tonight.
But you'll call me out if I'm wrong because you're pretty vocabulary rich.
Oh, that's a stretch.
I don't know. You whenever I write a blog, you send me an email that's like,
Yeah, but it takes me an hour. I come back to it. I'll go to the bathroom and have lunch.
They've also brought us some damn fine trucker hats.
man, you ain't kidding. And I didn't have to put in any work at all. No work on the trail. I didn't even have to finish the damn race. So, and I've really wanted one, and I've asked for it, and
About 20 times.
and I would get no response. And I'm like, man, I gave you a damn T-shirt and, whatever. I gave you the best of me, and you won't give me a hat. But now it's all different. So
We can be friends again.
Back to friends.
we're on better terms than we were 20 minutes ago. The Reverend,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm doing good. I'm pulling out this piece of paper in my pocket. I just realized that it was in there. I didn't know. And
Lottery ticket.
no, these are Sillamore times. And I wanted to say this because you guys are here, because I was so embarrassed, because I was like, man, that was a really dumb thing for me to think that I could run 6 hours, and Brian is going to be so disappointed in me. But then I was at work today, and I was like, I saw this piece of paper sitting on my desk, and I picked it up and I looked at it, and I got to thinking, well, look, here's all 7 times for the last 7 years. And if I look at the last 4 years are all over 7 hours and 20 minutes. The 6 hour one was in 2012. Yeah, it's a long time ago. So if you look at it, I PR'd
Over the last 5, for the last 5 years.
1,
or so,
2, 3,
you've been
4, 5 years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So
There's a statute of
there's
limitations.
nothing to be, right.
I'm thinking that's a stretch.
So
I mean, you're becoming a man of a certain age where you can't expect to run as fast as you.
no,
used
that's
to,
not
so-
where I was going with it. But yeah, I mean, you're welcome to dig at me for sure. But where I was going with it was
Where are you going with this?
I think he's almost there.
I'm done.
No, bring it back. Bring
Continue.
it back.
Go.
No, I'm totally
go.
done.
Well, it sounds like that you're just trying to beat yourself down into
No,
like
I had a point, but it's cool. Let's move on to Thirsty Runner.
Thirsty Runner, Big Thirsty,
What's up?
the
man?
best looking cameraman in the business.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well.
Recovered from Sillamore?
I have touched a barbell twice this week, so I feel pretty good.
With your toes?
That's good. You haven't been doing a lot of barbell touching here
No,
recently.
I deadlifted and back squatted this week, so I felt good. I mean, I can tell that I'm still needing time to recover more. That's why I haven't run yet, but it still felt good to deadlift and back squat. So
Y'all ready for the open?
nope.
Rev?
I'm ready. It starts today.
It started, they announced it.
Yeah, they did. It's like a
19
rowing
wall
and
balls
wall balls.
and 19 calorie row.
That's the whole workout.
15-minute
15
AMRAP.
minutes.
15-minute interval.
Is it always a Thursday when they start that?
yeah Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure
they announce it on Thursday, and you have until Monday after.
Because I remember last year, Mark Fortune was like, he had posted like the very first. They posted Thursday, and then like 4 something in the morning, Mark Fortune's already got his knocked out.
Well, you got to squeeze it in when you can.
And he didn't like it, and I think he came back and did it again.
Well,
There's a lot of
that's
that.
pretty typical of a lot of the athletes, but
Not me.
Not me either.
I mean, it'd be one thing
saying.
if you were on the brink of top 3, and somebody comes along and posts a better score, and they got like 4 or 5 extra reps that you didn't get, and going back and doing it would put you back in the top 3,
Right.
where you'd get to go to
Yeah, that's what it
sectionals
was.
or whatever.
He's like, I'm top
That's what
5
I'm
in
saying.
my age
Like,
group.
so it's just in a
He
world
was first, right?
for 99.999% of us, it just doesn't matter, and it's not worth redoing. It just unless you want to prove something to yourself. So
Last year I had to redo one
Yeah.
because
Didn't
I
read the
grabbed a
barbell.
45-pound barbell. It was a 50-pound weight for whatever you got to do. And I did the entire workout and then had about 3 more reps to do when it was pointed out that I was using a 45 instead of a 50-pound dumbbell. So I had to do the whole thing over again.
So,
And
that,
that was
so that your score counted.
Right.
Yeah,
and
he
it
had,
turned
he had
out,
a 50 in one hand and a 45 in the other.
Son of a...
Can the judge share the blame for that?
it was my fault.
The judge
Ultimately.
is not supposed to assist you.
Oh.
But,
But
I had to go. I had to.
the judge should have been standing there saying, no rep.
That's true.
No rep.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
No
yes,
rep.
the answer
Why
to
you
your
no repping
question
me?
is
Because
yes.
you're holding a
Yes, I
45
know
pound
what to
weight.
say.
It's
And
the
then-
judge's fault.
I had to go all week with one side of me being like really jacked.
Like a
and the other
Popeye.
side
You had a Popeye arm.
Yeah, just looked
The
odd.
struggle's real.
So it seems like there's a different vibe for the Open this year. Not sure why.
Yeah, well, CrossFit HQ's changed some things up, and I think people are trying to get a feel for how it's going to go. And I think for those of us that never had any chance of making it out of the Open, it should be situation normal, and the next 5 weeks should be as fun as they've been in years past.
I feel the same way because that's whatever CrossFit HQ does, even if it blows up tonight, if they just shut down shop, it really shouldn't affect any of us, not anybody that I know.
Yeah, not us average schmoes. Do we have any reviews?
No, we got none. I've been checking all day.
I'm going to step outside and cry.
Been
for a
hitting
minute.
refresh. So anybody that's listening out there that will leave a review, I would appreciate this. Appreciate that. Let's go straight into walking tall because we can talk about that for a long time. You guys were on here 1 year ago, probably about exactly 1 year ago.
September 24th, I think, or 28th, 2017.
So that was quite a while ago.
It was.
All right. But at that time, we didn't know how this race was going to go.
Right. We didn't even know if it was actually going to happen.
Were y'all fearful of that? That maybe Big Hill Pond was just something y'all conjured up? But
You know, if you listen to our podcast that time, we had a lot of stuff that was up in the air that was big stuff, you know.
Yeah, I hated to announce anything that wasn't firm, and so we just didn't know. You know, we didn't know if we were going to have 50 people show up or if we were going to have a blowout crowd, and everything was just a big question.
And
You
how
got
many
the-
people did you have show up?
We ended up selling out. We sold 375 bibs for a 350 bib race, and I think we had 175 25K finishers and 88 50K finishers with over 20 DNFs on the 50K.
wow.
So great turnout, amazing.
Wow.
For a first year, yeah, that's
Now-
fantastic.
Sitting on this podcast in September, if you would have said, if somebody made you an offer and said, we can promise you this many people will be here, what number would you have said that would be great?
Oh, God, it changed all year long. I went from if I could just get 100 people to show up or register to as soon as I got 100, it was like, man, it would just be glorious for 150. And then as soon as I got 150, it was like,
his
you know
number
what?
kept changing.
My dream is not for 150 people. It's 200. You know, and then it was sellout. And
Yep.
it was just, it was amazing.
And so goes life. It's
Yeah.
the same thing with anything that you do. It's like, if I could just get here, and then it's just not quite enough. When did you open up the Facebook group?
We opened up the Facebook group right at the same time as we did registration. So January 1, we opened up the Facebook page and registration, and we had about 30 people register first day. All my buddies signed up, you know, the people that were going to support no matter what, whether they planned on running or not. You know, half the people on there had never run a day in their life, and they're like, well, we'll do it just because we like you. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so, and then it languished for a while.
I think we
You
had
know.
50, I think, that first day, because that was still that was an awe factor.
Yeah, maybe 50,
It was
30,
50.
50 Kers and then 20, 25 Kers because that group tends to sign up last minute instead of planning ahead.
The 50K sign
The 25 Kers
Sign up last minute.
if they can. Yeah, absolutely. They'll watch the weather and wait till the very last minute.
Yeah.
But now it's a race that's going to sell out.
Oh,
so
yeah,
you're
absolutely.
gonna
I mean,
have
we're,
to- you're going to have
know.
to plan ahead and take your chances about the weather being what you want it to be.
We added spots for the 25K, and we're still over halfway full already. So if you're waiting, you're going to be FOMO'd on the sidelines because it's. I mean, I would imagine very soon the 25K will be full, and the 50K will follow right behind it.
Wow.
So the ultra sign up already has the colors changing for warning, as
Nice.
far as the registration turning red for being.
Oh, really? I
close
didn't
to
even know
full.
that was a thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm asking for a friend. What is FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Okay.
I wondered the same thing. Thank you, Sean. Good job. I appreciate that.
Was your friend Wilson?
Yeah.
You know, my daughter ran her first 25K at Sillamore.
As did my son.
year.
Well,
Yeah.
it wasn't his first 25K, but I would say it's his first kind of mountainous 25K.
And so she wants to come and do the 25K at Big Hill Pond. now.
Nice. She would be welcome.
Yeah, she was really.
She seems stoked.
She loved it. She was really excited about it. Yeah.
Well, I didn't get a chance to talk to her, but I did sit next to her for a while after the race was over, and she was all smiles.
I got
Yeah,
the fresh
I mean,
story
she
right
was-
off the trail, man. We sat down at the restaurant with Anthony Lane and had a little beer, and she was still, hopped
Yeah,
up.
I mean, she was really worried about it because she didn't run at all to train for it or anything. I mean, she's in nursing school, so she's pretty busy, and so I told her going in, I said, "Listen, just hike the damn thing. Like you've got 9 hours to do that. Like, just enjoy the scenery or
didn't
whatever."
need 9
And
hours.
so she ran in like 4.5 hours.
That's
So
pretty
she
amazing.
went after it. She was like, "I was running with some people." Then I was like, "These people are too slow. Now I'm running with some other people." And so I ran. So I left them and ran with some other people.
Picking people off.
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Man, I really enjoyed this." So
That's awesome.
she
A
hopefully
trail runner was born.
Yeah, right.
Right there.
So-
Well, that was my next question.
Yeah.
Does she have the bug? Is she?
I don't.
all
I mean,
geeked
I
up
don't
on
know.
it?
She really wants to sign up for Big Hill Pond. So
Well, we'd love. How old is she?
21.
So right now there are 9 people ages 20 to 29 signed up.
Oh, wow.
So she'd fit right in.
It's awesome that you know that off the top of your head.
Abby has that same drive or whatever it is that you have. I remember watching her last year during the Open, and there's some kind of double under thing, and she kept going and kept going and kept going. I know she doesn't run, so it was a lot to do. Go straight into a 25K, especially Sillamore, but she's also very fit, and really athletic. So
Yeah,
it
she
doesn't
is.
surprise me that she
Yeah,
did.
you got to pick your feet
that
up on
well.
that trail.
Man,
Don't I know it? I fell down twice.
it's so hard. And what do y'all think about which is a harder course, Sillamore or Big Hill Pond?
Before you answer, everybody at Sillamore that I ran into mentioned Big Hill Pond's so much harder than this course.
That's yeah.
Like
I
I
agree with
must
that.
I must have had a dozen people say that.
I agree. It's my race, and I want it to be harder. But I honestly believe that it's just different. I don't know why.
It's just
but
you can't.
Big Hill
It's not
Pond
apples
is
and
just
apples.
different.
It's
It's
all
not apples
uphill.
and apples.
And it was even like there were a few
no
like
downhill.
rando people I've never even met before, just that I overheard talking behind me about it. And you got to climb up that fire tower.
Yes. The fire tower is our creek. It's our mental creek.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
That's an awesome analogy.
Yeah.
People have a hard time with that, getting past that fire tower.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess heights isn't really a big problem for me, but I guess that, if I put myself in
Height
that,
was an issue for me.
yeah.
I kept my eyes down. Charlie was like, "Look out there." I'm like, "Nope. Nope. Just punch my bib. I'm good."
So this year the bling's going to be a little different for the fire tower because we know we're basically going to sell out, so we're not scared half to death of having spending $2,000 on stuff that's going to sit in the closet. We know we're going to give it away, so we put dates on everything and changed up the coin a little bit, and we're going to spruce some things up, and we'll have new stuff. I think you'll like the coins this year.
What kind of concern was there on the first year that you did it financially? Is that a financial risk to start something like this?
Absolutely. I mean, you don't know what you're going to do. We had to order the coins, and at the beginning we didn't have any sponsors. We weren't sure. We certainly didn't want to spend. I think the coins are close to $2,000 to buy the challenge coins. And, when you've got 50 people signed up, that's your entire race budget. I mean, that's everything. So we still had finishers items. We had food. We wanted to promise a big race. We wanted beer. We wanted to do it right. But we couldn't, it was baby steps at a time, which is one of the reasons we rolled out so much of it so slowly. We made announcement only when we were for sure we could do something, because the last thing that I wanted to do is claw back something we had said on Facebook or on the podcast and not follow through with it. We wanted to under-promise and over-deliver.
Well, and I think that you have that reputation. I feel like the people knew that going in, that, with y'all putting this on, it was going to be done right. And there's just so much to that you don't think about when, you show up in your race and everybody cleans your stuff up and they got your pins and your goodie bag and all that stuff put together, and y'all have to spend countless hours screwing with all of it. Not to mention the restoration that y'all did of the trail was significant.
Oh,
that became a project in itself. I mean, we knew it was going to be work, but
yeah, not that much work. As we got into it and really realized, for Sean and I, we get out there and run, and we'd skip over a bridge that was, just toothpicks, and we wouldn't worry about it, and we'd keep on moving, and we're like, that's fine for the race. And then you get to thinking about it, we're going to have 350 people stomping across this, and then the ranger gets out there and goes, well, this bridge really is not appropriate. We got to do something about it. And we ended up replacing 20 bridges.
Wow.
Whoa.
On the park, yeah.
I was wondering if all those were.
Every one of them was us.
Jeez,
That's pretty
a lot
impressive.
Of work.
Wow.
So we had a couple.
Did y'all have a budget for that from the parks? Did they help with that?
So the more we showed up, the more other people started showing up. As the park realized we weren't just going to vanish, the park kicked in a little bit, and then the Rangers boss realized that we weren't going away, and so they got a little extra funding here and there for some extra equipment that they normally wouldn't have gotten. It just kind of really snowballed. We had a couple local guys say, like Irving Electric last year, just wrote us a check and said, use it for trail maintenance and for some supplies, and just go for it. And it just kind of snowballed. And so the longer we were out there, the more people wanted to help us, which was a great thing.
I'm sure they have people come to them all the time and say, I had a great time on this trail. I'm going to start a race, and I'm going to do all this stuff, and you haven't heard the last of me, and then they just disappear.
I'm sure. I'm absolute sure. When we asked if we could do the race out there, it was an immediate yes. And I was like, don't say that unless you're serious, because we're going to put on a race out here. If you say yes, I'm the guy that's going to do it. And sure enough, they said, do it. And so then we just started planning.
Did sponsors eventually come to you?
Or
did you have to knock on
a lot of sponsors? Same thing with the trail work. As people realized we weren't going away and the event was turning out to be a real success, people got excited. The community got excited. Bank of McNairy County wanted to be a part of it. Almost last minute. They almost missed their chance.
That was a pretty good story there.
Which was huge. McCall Wilson, thank you if you're watching. And they're coming back this year. So the community really got in behind the race, which was just what we wanted. I mean, everything that we did was kind of community
we re-spurred the Friends of the Park.
That's right.
So, I mean, the 501c3 was spurred from this. That's completely separate from what we're doing, but it's going to work with us, as we progress the race and as it moves on through the years. So that's going to be able to keep the funds closer to that park and not just distributing over different parks of Tennessee.
Were there any relationships lost over this? It's got to be hard dealing with 300 people that all want the race to start when they need it to start, in the weather they want it to start in. With the beer that they want to drink.
Obviously, the hard finish, I think, was the biggest thing.
That was by far.
And I
the
know
hard finish.
The hard finish, like when the time's
Sticking
up.
to the cuts.
Was that a problem, really?
It wasn't really a problem.
You
It was
just see
just
the
difficult.
heartbreak,
It was the heartbreak, and almost to the man, everybody there was our friend. And so when you come across and
Wilson acting like he didn't, blow you guys up about this, trying to figure out how to.
If it wasn't for the hat, this podcast.
it's the only reason the
podcast
hat
wouldn't-
came in today.
I
And
didn't
was
even
like,
invite y'all here to be
"Please."
on the podcast. I was going to kill you both, and then you showed up with the hat.
I'm just lucky. I had extra stuff in the truck. I just brought the hat in first to see if that was enough.
Your peace offering.
The peace offering.
You had a couple sandwiches. You're going to turn around and go
all
back
kind
and
of stuff.
So continue with that.
Well, it was just hard. I mean, like I said, they're all our friends. And so the last thing you want is to have a friend come out there and try their first 50K because, for us, it's about the 50Ks. We wanted to make trail runners. We wanted people to succeed and be proud of a 50K. And, a lot of our friends trained really hard, and it was their first time out there that didn't make it. And to say, no, you didn't finish. You didn't make the time. You didn't, the rules stated. It was, for me, it was very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
We molded over for months.
Yeah, we bantered.
I mean, I'd
back
say a
and
year
forth.
at least.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the whole time, every time we get done with the conversation, we say, well, we're just going to have to accept that, there's some of our friends are going to hate us maybe for a little while or maybe for longer. But I think ultimately when they reflect on it, they'll understand what the purpose of that is.
I worried about it all day because I was at an aid station where they had the last cutoff,
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't even remember. I think it was like 2:00 in the afternoon or something that they had to ship off, and it wasn't a thing of, well, if Wilson comes by here, I have to let him go because he's my friend. There was a ranger there, and the ranger knew of the cutoff, and that ranger was like, I'm not letting anybody go.
Yeah, he had no sympathy, did he?
At all. At all. He did not. And he was like, don't you worry about it, because I'm not letting anybody go out of here after 2:00. And I think there was one person that did, 2 people that didn't make it, but there was one guy that came down like 1:59, and it was like 1:59, 45 seconds, and he comes out. And he goes over to the aid station, and it's like 2:00 now. And I look over at the ranger, and I go like, "What are we gonna do here?" And he goes, "I just let him go," And then he let him go. But then the next person that came down, he was like, "Nah, you can't.
Yeah,
you're
that's
done."
it.
So it was. I mean, it wasn't y'all. Like that's the way I felt about it. There was actually a park ranger there that was
Right,
like,
yeah.
"No, I can't let these people
An
do
authority
that."
figure
He's
was
in
willing
uniform.
to be the guy.
Well, that's beautiful. But, I mean, we really did want it to be something you were proud of, too. We wanted to follow the rules, and when you carried around a big stick, when you got your award, we wanted it to be something that you were proud to have. We wanted it to be a real race and a real accomplishment, and that's why we were adamant about sticking to it.
And I think that's honorable, and I think that that's both of y'all. I think that that's y'all's style and personality. It would be one thing to just get pulled off the course if it was, the whatever McNairy County Trail Race to benefit the people with, bad hubcaps. But y'all are both well known in the trail community, and you run hard races, and you're more of the elite level, and you knew going in that if you don't make that time cut, you don't make that time cut. And I knew what the time cut was to get to Vaughn's aid station, and that was my goal. And I felt if I can just get to there, then I can finish the distance, which is always what's important to me, is finishing the distance. I don't want to get pulled from the race. I don't keep my medals or my, I wouldn't have kept my stick anyway. But making it to the end of the race is important.
Well, the thing about our cutoff, in most races, they do a cutoff where it's a little harder up front, and then once you get towards the backside, they relax it a little bit, and that's a good thing. In our race, the cutoff was set up on the average pace to complete the race in its full, distance. So what that means is that if your goal is to make it to the 2:30 cutoff at the railroad, then you've got five and a half or 6 miles
time to make it.
Yeah, you should have enough time, but you have to continue to move at that same effort level, that same pace.
You can't be messing around.
Yeah, you can't just make cutoff and be winded and be like, all right, well, I'll have to walk the next half mile, but I'll get it back together.
Right.
Or else you won't make the end. Because there's still a good piece of trail left. There's not a whole bunch of humongous climbs, but the whole theme of the race is all these rollers that come at you and don't give you time to fully recover.
Yeah, the backside of the lake is no joke. You
No,
go
it's
down
not.
the dam, and that backside of the lake is the real
You
deal.
still average about 125 to 140 feet a mile out there on the backside of that lake, and you're running around the perimeter of the lake.
Is the backside of the lake the second half of the race?
Yeah.
It's
It's that one where you're going around
27
and-
to 30-ish.
What's if you were going to start either at the beginning of the race or at the halfway point, which one is more difficult? Is the second half harder than the first? Or
Well, you're going to be completely, tuckered out
So
by
I
the back
think
half, so
I
that
think-
plays a big part.
No, I'm saying, is the back half less difficult than the
I
front?
got you.
If you were starting with fresh legs,
If you're only going to do 25K of it,
I
the
think
first
so
half,
because
second half.
personally, the hardest part of the course is when you turn right for the finish or turn left for the second half of the course. That, to me, from 15.5 to 18.5 is the hardest section of the course in my mind.
Yeah, you hit a 3-mile section where you're averaging about 200 feet a mile.
And it's choppy, and they just keep coming at you. I mean, it's not anything it's not a 200-foot climb in a row. It's a 50-foot up, 50-foot down, 50-foot up, 50-foot down. And it really
Amanda says it's just 50, it's up.
It's up. There's no down.
There's
no
not a
downhill the
downhill
whole
in the
race. You just keep going up. You go up and then it's flat for a while, and you go up again, and you go up again.
Well, see, like at Sillamore, you get big enough mountains where if you learn how to run those mountains, you run till you get to a certain, heart rate or feeling, and then you back off and you find a kind of a low gear, like I call it, and grind through the rest of the hill, and then you get a long descent that gives you time to completely come off of your heart rate and recover, and that's the key. This place, 50-foot descent, is not going to give you time to come down 10 beats a minute or something. I mean, it's not enough to recover, so you're just bombarded with it.
That was a hard decision to turn left again to go back out for that 50K.
It is a hard decision. And we wanted to. We put the turn
hard.
away from the finish line because we wanted more finishers. So we knew it was going to be hard at that point. But if you can see the finish, we weren't allowing drops in the race because we wanted 50K finishers. So we put the turn on purpose to where you couldn't see the finish line so that hopefully you would just turn left not knowing what else to do. Because if you had turned right, you were a DNF, no drops during the race. And so we wanted to take that decision process out of the way.
Which that was another thing that I thought was cool, was that if you sign up for the 50K, you got to do the 50K.
That's right.
Or you can't just decide midway through that I'm going to do the 25K because it's not my day.
Is that a normal thing for races? I feel like I know of maybe one race where you can drop down during the race. I don't think you can do that at Sillamore.
No, you can't at Sillamore. It seems to me the more old school the race is, the more the chance that you don't have the option to change.
Okay, gotcha.
And we wanted to do kind of a combination of old school, hard, no decisions, but new school, bling and fun and beer and kind of a place where you could sit down and have a burrito and hang out with your friends afterwards.
Oh, my God, those burritos were fantastic.
I didn't get one.
I didn't get a burrito.
Holy moly.
So that is my fault, and I apologize if I told the guy at the end of the race, he said, "When can I pack down?" I said, "When the finish line goes away, you can pack down." And that's my mistake. I should have told him 30 minutes after the finish line is pulled to stop making the burritos. So,
Well, I had one.
That's just a rookie mistake.
I had one in my hand, and then Sean came up and he took it from me. And he said,
He thought it was a finisher's burrito, and he took it from
he said, "Those are for finishers."
me.
Give me back that
That
burrito.
looks like a stick. Let me take that away.
You can have these old M&Ms. Here, take these. He threw them on the floor.
I did have to take some awards away, man. That did not feel good.
You had to physically take awards out of people's
From a
hands.
friend, from a teammate, too, at that.
Yeah.
Were they in a box? I mean, would people
Well-
go up and take them themselves?
So no, we were handing them out.
Yeah, one by one.
And one by one, they were checking bibs for the bib punches
You're handing out and hugging.
and hugging.
The
Oh,
hugs
I
were
like
good.
that.
That was,
I like
that
the
was
hug.
great.
But for a second, we had a guy that started cramping. And so I was taken away from the finish line to go get some salt and try and help this guy out. And so for 15 or 20 minutes or so, there was nobody there except for a couple park rangers that were just handing out stuff. And so
Right.
did he try and drop and take a finisher item? Is that
Yeah, I don't think whether he knew or not that you couldn't drop mid-race, I don't know. But I think he came in assuming that, he would have the 25K finish.
Are we going to call people out on this?
No. No.
I'm just kidding.
He knows who he is, and he knows that it was a very hard decision.
Write it down on a piece of paper.
it's under the coffee?
More of a fold airplane and throw it at you kind of guy.
I remember it, Vaughn, you mentioned at Sillamore that you didn't think that you could do that. And the first time when I guess it had snowed or rained really bad, it was really nasty, and he gave the option of turning around at the 25K as if that was something different. And in my head, I was like, oh, I had no idea. I just assumed you could turn around anywhere.
Yeah, I was there for that, and it was the sleet or the ice year.
Yes.
And he said, you are going to feel like you ran more than a 50K this year. It is going to be hard. And so for the first time ever, if you want to drop, if you feel like you've gotten in farther than you want, you can turn around and I'll count you as a finisher. And I don't know if he's kept that or not. He hasn't announced that is a possibility. But
Well, it's not during the race for sure. It's not obvious at all. You would
you
definitely
could switch,
have to
yeah.
do it beforehand.
yeah, you'd have to let him know. I would
Yeah,
think.
and this year, the transfers, and I'm pretty sure the drops have to be done by January 15th. I think. I know the transfers were, because this is such a famous race for transfers because it sells out so fast.
But like at Ouachita, if you get to the split, you can literally right there in the middle of the race go, I'm going to run the
Yeah, it's not
50K
my day.
instead.
I'm dropping
yeah
distance.
right.
And you got to have some of those races out there because you want people to reach higher than what in their mind they think they can do.
True.
And they've done a 50K at Pinnacle Mountain and at that park, is a well-earned 50K. So you're still reaching out there and, doing a good job and having a hell of a day.
How does the 50K at Walking Tall rank in y'all's ultra careers? Y'all have done some really pretty impressive races. Something like Comrades. I hear about Comrades, but I don't know. Is that a hilly race? Is it a long race, a hot race? What is it about Comrades that makes that so exclusive?
Comrades is basically the Boston of the ultra world. It's in South Africa, and it was the first apartheid event, and so it is a national holiday. That race is hilly. They call it an up year and a down year because it's not that one way is up or down. One way is net up and one is net down, but it's still I don't know. The first year when I ran it, I looked at the sheet and I thought, oh well, this is going to be nothing because I'm used to American numbers, and I was thinking, okay, 100, that's 100 feet. That's nothing hill. And then it wasn't until 2 weeks before we were on the plane, I'm looking at it, that's meters. Holy shit, I'm in trouble. So the race is very, it was hot when I was there. It is very hilly, both directions. It doesn't matter. It's point to point. They're very strict on their cuts. You have to qualify to get in. And I think they had 22,000 qualified ultra runners that were towed the starting line, and 6,000 of those did not cross the finish line.
Whoa.
Wowzer.
Yeah.
And that had to qualify to get
Had to
in the thing
qualify.
to
So it
begin
wasn't
with.
your first rodeo, and they still had 6,000 people that started, that actually, like, their chip went off at the starting line, and they did not finish the race.
That's still, just thinking about 22,000 starters for an ultra race is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
I still can't figure out how they got 6,000 people off the course on a point-to-point. They had DNF buses parked all over the place. It was crazy.
Well, question came across on Facebook Live. Same course for Big Hill Pond, same course, or you
It'll
guys
be the
changing
same
it?
course.
Okay. They were hoping you were going to add some more hills.
Can people
Well-
hear us on Facebook Live?
I think we said we're going to raise the tower a little bit. So
Yeah, I think
That's still a
I was going to
possibility.
put a couple floors on the tower, and
geez, you
if you
built all
need,
those-
maybe I'll put a couple bears in the park.
I was
If
thinking a
that's,
couple Wildcats.
You built all those bridges this year. You can just build a new tower.
So there was a thought until about a week ago that we were going to add another rope. We were going to cut the trail back into the section at the railroad, right? As you come down, right now you have to run down the easement.
Yeah.
And the old trail before we had a mudslide went up and then some stairs down onto the road before you turned to cross the railroad tracks. And I was out there exploring and found the old pieces of the old trail, and it would be very easy to put a rope in there. And just about the time I had that completely set in my head that that's the way I was going to take Sean out there.
He called me and said, and I was like, he's like, just trust me on this. I know you're not here, but you would say yes if you were here.
It's going to be
I said,
amazing.
I'm a yes.
And so the next week, Justin, the ranger out there, called me and said, "You wouldn't believe our luck. The railroad company is here rebuilding that ridge line as we speak." So hopefully by the time that we get to it, the trail will be recut and we'll have stairs down into the. So there'll be one more hill, but the same course. It's just you're going to be, instead of running down that easement, you'll have to go up that hill and then down that hill before you cross over to the railroad
Yeah, it's
track.
an extra 40 feet.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. Just a little more fun.
Speaking of not big deals, Sean, you've got the Big Bear coming up.
We've got both of us have some big races this year. The Bear is the culmination of my big year. But yeah, I mean that's the ultimate goal is my first 100. Brian's done a couple hundreds, and ever since I started trail running and doing the ultras, he's kind of been my mentor as far as how do I go about stepping up in race distance and what kind of training plan and what I've kind of followed it until I've learned enough from my own experience to kind of build my own little goals. But we've got some big races. We've got the Lovett 100K this weekend, which is going to be my first 100K. And then that is really just a training run for us and a few other people here from Memphis for the Georgia Death Race, which is another 100K designated race with a lot more distance and a lot more elevation.
So yeah, that one they say it's 100K, but
Yeah, it's just like, the Barkley Fall
74-ish,
Classic and all. It's just
Yeah,
62, 74. What's the
and the elevation change on that one's ridiculous too, right?
yeah, it's close to 8,000 meters.
Yeah, 8,000 meters.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was talking.
I'm
to
just
Sean-
saying, I'm making him just mad.
Yes.
I was talking to Sean about the bear or the big bear, whatever it's called.
bear.
And he was telling me what kind of gain it is. I said that doesn't mean anything to me, and it's 5 miles. But of that 5 miles, you don't like. That's as the race is 100 miles as the crow flies.
Yeah, it's like 102 miles.
So
horizontal.
you're throwing in 5 additional miles that just happen to be entirely vertical. I mean, so it's basically like 5 miles. If you take a ladder that's 5 miles long, be like the race is going to be completely flat.
You gotta climb
However,
up. You gotta
climb
climb up
up
that ladder
a
and down
5-mile
that ladder.
ladder.
I'm not sure that's the way that works.
Is that not how it works?
Right, yeah. So to bring it back just a little bit, because I think the viewers and the people that will listen to this podcast later on would enjoy the story that, 2 episodes ago was the whole big thing with hitting on Wilson for the hashtag Hundo.
Yep.
I thought
Yep.
that's
And
what
so-
we were talking about tonight.
so the-
Is that not
I
what we're here
finished it.
for?
At
So
Sylamore.
so the next day, I text him and I'm saying, man, these guys are really, I saw Facebook lighting up and I was like, they are being so wrong to you, and just off the cuff, a total different, unrelated completely. I'm doing my first 100 this year. So anyways, it was total a-hole move on me to join in with the crowd and beat on him, but he got it and he's like, oh yeah, what 100 are you doing? And I told him, and then he looked it up and then he came back at me with like, holy crap. I saw him later that day or something and he's like, really? That's
You
just
pick
stupid.
it. I'll pace it, crew it. I'll take care
It won't
of it.
happen.
I'm telling you.
happen,
It's
dude.
right here. I'm telling you. It doesn't matter what race it is. You pick it, I'll be there.
It can't.
The biggest thing that he's committed to thus far is potentially going for 30 hours at Tunnel Hill, right? Like, and you haven't committed to that, but you're at least, batting that idea around.
I told Amanda I wouldn't be opposed.
Careful
to,
now.
Or you could just stretch the 50-miler out to 30 hours.
I can't do well. That's about what it
I
boils
think
down
that's
to.
what he's
anyway.
trying to trick y'all with. So don't fall for that.
Yeah. I just don't have I really just don't have an interest in that. And someday I probably will, but it's not. I think that I've thought about it a lot, and you hear like you got to step outside your comfort zone, and
You've never said that.
I get that, huh?
You've never said that, have you?
Well,
I'm saying it now.
I know that you got to step out of your comfort zone, and it's important to step out of your comfort zone, but I don't think that it's necessary to always be out of your comfort zone for the sake of being uncomfortable. If it was something that was like something that I really wanted to do,
Yeah, but you can make a habit out of anything.
but I don't want to make a habit. I can make a habit out of
I think
crack.
that's what's happened to me.
There's other habits, but it doesn't appeal to me. A 100-mile habit isn't something that I want.
Well, then just do it once.
A running habit isn't something that I want.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll probably have to do
Well,
it running.
the only
Brian,
the
why
only
don't you get to where you can bench press 300 pounds?
I've done that.
I wouldn't challenge him on that. He's 2 years away from that, but he could probably.
Well,
do it.
400. Whatever it is. You see what I'm saying?
You make the shirt.
It's just something that doesn't interest
So are we talking about a trade here? 400 pounds for a 100 miler?
Is
Is
anybody in
that-
the gym?
Yeah,
Benching,
for sure.
anybody in the gym?
For
benching
sure?
400?
Absolutely.
Damn.
Yeah, no, I'll take that bet. I'll do that right now. That's at 350. If you bench
I
330
honestly
pounds,
don't know
I'll
if I
do.
could do 350, even if I tried.
That's the same way I feel about a 100-mile race. Certainly in 24 hours. What was your first 100-mile race?
Cajun Coyote, 27 hours.
What did your first Tunnel Hill take you?
25. I blew up the second half. I did a 10-hour first and 15-hour second half. It was miserable. My hip I was injured and walked a 50K. It was ridiculous.
And Vaughn, what was your?
Brian, go ahead.
26 something, right?
Yeah,
26 hours.
Yeah, 26 hours.
And y'all are like legit runners, like that, and that doesn't leave.
See,
a
but
lot
I think
of leeway.
there's something to Tunnel Hill, though. Tunnel Hill is just repetitive. It's like it's an old rail to trail, and your body does this. If you picked a single track trail, your body's doing this and this and this. This for 100 miles to me is hard.
And
It
the
was
training
it
you're
was
doing for
hard on
Tunnel
me.
Hill is a lot like that. You know, you're going
There's
to train
something to
for
be
your
said.
race.
There's something to be said for that. Like I feel like trail running definitely taxes your body less on the whole. One, I mean, you're obviously running at a slower pace, but the fact that you're constantly going up and down and side to side, you're using different muscles.
So
as
you're
opposed
forced to use them.
Yeah, you're forced to use different muscles as opposed to if you're road running, you're pretty much using the exact same muscles unless you come to a hill or whatever, then you might be start using your quads or hamstrings or whatever a little bit more up the hill, down the hill kind of thing. But generally speaking, you're running pretty flat, and so you're using and Tunnel Hill. That's very much what Tunnel Hill is. But you go to like a Sillamore or Big Hill Pond or something like that, and you're constantly using different muscles because the terrain's changing.
I think the proof is in the pudding when you look at somebody that is just starting trail running and they go out there and they turn their ankle and it becomes a big deal. They're out for a couple weeks and they go see the doctor and all that stuff. I mean, almost every single trail run, I have an incident where my ankle rolls enough that if I was old Sean, it would have been a break or it would have been a sprain to where I'm off of it for a week or two. But now it's just not a big deal.
Right.
And I think that is a perfect example of what using the other muscle groups helps bulletproof your joints and helps lubricate your ligaments and your tendons to the point where they are, elastic and can bounce back from that. And we call it trail
ankles. That's what we call it.
And it's not, it's just not a big thing anymore. I feel like that those joints are stronger and I
agree.
Proof's in the pudding.
I agree.
Road running's become like a treadmill workout for me now, so I only force myself to do it.
Terrible.
It is. That's why I sign up for at least one road marathon a year, is to remind myself
how terrible it is.
I don't think I'll ever be called on the road again.
I mean, under 10 miles or less is fine, but it's if it goes over that, like half marathon, more than that, it's I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
St. Jude at mile 9, I felt like mile 40 on Tunnel Hill.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think
I
I'm
agree.
exaggerating.
I agree.
And I think I felt that bad.
So now put that on a real trail, and maybe it's mile 60 before you feel that bad.
Probably.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're looking at a crushed gravel trail that's got just, maybe just a little less firmness than pavement, but it's not like the trail we run on.
Tell me this. How long of a window do you have to finish a 100-mile race and be considered running?
It depends on
100
the
miles.
difficulty of the race. I mean, Hard Rock's, 48 hours?
No, I mean, if somebody
So-
said they were a 100-mile finisher, what
Meaning they ran the 100 miles.
Yeah.
Right? And not walked part of it. Or are you talking about like they ran it?
If you finish
what-
it in
what
the
is that?
time of the event,
I think that's
whatever the event
16 to
timing
18
is,
hours.
Yeah,
Probably.
if you don't get a DNF, I would say
that you ran the event.
But I think maybe the question you're asking is like what's a legit time the community would accept as a 100-mile finisher? Because if he goes out to Tunnel Hill and it takes him 50 hours to finish 100 milers, people aren't going to
But there won't be anybody left at the race.
Well,
Yeah,
I get
it
it.
That's
has to
making
be
the point.
within the time of the
Well,
race.
what about a 48-hour race? That's my question. Like, where would the line be
You're not
drawn?
using your hypotheticals right now, are you?
I'm going to. Somebody asked me.
I would say if you
what-
found a 48-hour race and you went out there and ran 100 miles, I would say you're a 100-mile finisher.
Interesting. What average pace do you have to run the 50K at Big Hill Pond in order to make cutoff?
17 minutes and 14 seconds. And that's a true time according to the length of the race. If you divided 31 miles into that time, you're going to get a different number. But that's a little secret that is on the website for those in the know, since the race is a little fat.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we've done is we've run it so much that we know what the mileage average is. So just like anything, you average the mileage.
Because I don't know if y'all knew that, but the 25K is a little fat.
You're not doing Snapchat with me right now, right?
What do you mean? What do you mean when you say fat?
Long.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like Syllamore's a little fat, it's a little long. The 25K is
long, but
is
the
long.
50K.
The
is not
50K
long.
actually is
Short.
almost spot on.
Right. It's only like maybe a quarter mile long or
Yeah.
something like that.
But
Really?
the 25K is a
0.3.
little long.
I was about a mile and a half short on my distance at Silvermore.
On the 50K, you were, yes. I was talking about
He's
walking
talking
tall.
about walking
Oh,
tall.
sorry.
So 50K at Sillamore should come in at like 29 and a half-ish.
Yeah.
And then
I've always
but
gotten 29 at
You're
Sillamore.
almost 17 on the 25K if
Yeah.
you do the shorter
Right.
distance.
I mean, when I get to the turnaround, it's like 8.4.
Greg even said
Eight and a half
this year,
miles.
I mean, he tells you, look, don't
at
look
the
at your watch.
25K, Greg even stood up on the thing this year and said, look, I know it's not right. They didn't have GPS when we marked the course, and this is the way I want to keep it, so I'm keeping it this way.
I love
That's what
that.
he
I'm
said
the race
this
director,
year.
and
I
I
was
can
like,
do it.
yeah. I was like, all right. Good
Well,
for
and
you.
That's what
Yeah.
I always tell anybody anyways. Like trails aren't like a road course where you can, figure a different route to get like the exact distance or whatever. If it says 25K, it's ish. If it says 50K, it's ish. If it's
Yeah.
100K, it's ish. Like it's not, you're not going to go out there like short of Tunnel Hill. That's a USATF certified course. You're not going to be spot on.
Which
It's
we're
just not
working
gonna
on
happen.
I emailed Greg about being on the podcast, by the way.
Good.
So
yes.
hopefully
You
he'll
just want your sweatshirt.
Greg Eason will bring me my sweatshirt and come be on the podcast.
That's the only reason
You
why
got
he
a hat
invites
for
race
this?
directors on.
He got a hat from them. Now he's gonna get Greg to bring a sweatshirt.
It's all about the swag.
It's time.
Hypotheticals. It's not hard, it's super easy. Hypotheticals. It's so fun and it's also cheesy. Hypotheticals. Your cousin Ben and your best friend Wheezy.
It's time.
Hypotheticals.
So ready.
That was Ted Horrell of TedHorrellMusic.com. Ted Horrell and the Monday Night Card. These are good ones. I got one from Gavin May today.
Hey,
Who
I know
wants to
him.
go first?
Kevin's watching.
Of course he's watching. He's
Oh, you're
he's part of the
sourcing
production.
the ideas from the public.
He can't. I'll take it. Yeah.
What you're supposed to do, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah,
All
whenever
right.
you have good,
Feel
if you
your
got
audience
good
out.
hypotheticals, send them my way.
I didn't know that, or I'd been hitting you up nonstop.
Well, come
Be
up
fired
with
from
all
my
of them at
job, I
one
know.
time and send
It's
it.
a good
one.
thing this thing's got now the explicit content for your hypotheticals.
All right, this one's Gavin's. Amanda, you're going first.
Me?
Would you rather train but never race or race but never train? He said he figured that he knew how most of us would answer this.
Well, I usually
say we
do the
race, we
latter.
We're gonna skip on to Brian.
I thought this was supposed to be hypothetical. I mean, yeah.
It's a valid question. I mean,
Okay.
do you have a preference? If you had a choice,
I mean,
of
if
doing,
I had time, I would really love to train. I'd like to train for something and actually see what I could do.
well, you can't see what you could do if you
The
if you
hypothetical is you
choose.
either
But if I'm
training or
training,
racing.
I could run a 50K training and just see
Just-
how it goes.
Yeah,
Just seeing those times be better would be enough for me.
Brian.
So I would much rather train and never race. But I like to race because I love running new trail. And a lot of the races that I'm doing now are on places that I've never been to. And I'm going back to seeing those places. I've taken Adam a couple places. Adam's my son. And it's just places I would never be able to even find sometimes without actually doing a race somewhere. Like Upchuck. Is one of those places. You couldn't find it really. I mean, I guess you could, but it would not be easy to find or go back to unless you had run the race. And so I would much rather train, but I do like to race.
That's one of those that I want to do. That I have it ultra run
That's
sign up,
Chattanooga
ultra sign
area,
up.
right?
Yeah, it's Chattanooga Signal Mountain.
Yes.
It's another one you
I have
gotta
it-
get fast.
Yeah,
It
you've
sells
got-
out
it
quick.
flags my
It
computer
sells
every
out
year.
quick,
It sold
and you got
out
to qualify for
20
it.
minutes on us this year.
Yeah, you kind of got to be in the know
Yeah.
because they don't advertise when it's going to open up.
Mr. Hilsdon.
Definitely training. I love the
No
racing.
racing.
I love the racing, but it's not the big part of it. It's not the big picture. I've gathered all my friends from the social training events, and I totally got into it for the health reasons to start with, not the racing. And the racing was kind of like icing on the cake.
The racing is the party.
Yeah, it's
almost.
it's the party, but I like the work. When I look at my, I'm very avid at keeping my log for my
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
And that when I go finish a 3 miler, if I don't really do 3 milers anymore, but I'm gonna go finish like a 5 or 6 miler, it'll I just can't wait to get back and pencil something in on my chart, and then I'm like done, and I'm like, crap, I need to go run again because I'm done.
I'm done with my chart.
I'm done with my chart.
My
Let me look at my heart
analyzing
rate for a
is done.
minute.
Vaughn?
I would definitely rather train
Nice.
than race, unless I could just do as many races as I possibly wanted to, and then I could turn my racing into training.
Yeah. I mean, there's a place for a race. You can't get that push. Brian calls it race day mojo. You can't get that naturally. You have to have the spirit of the race community, and everybody's racing, and they can say,
that adrenaline that comes with with
That's
towing
right.
the line.
Towing the line with your buddies and seeing who's a little faster and whose day it's going to be. And
But if I had to have one or the other, yeah, definitely the training. Good question, or a good hypothetical, Gavin.
Way to be, Gavin.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're going to write a book that is guaranteed to be a bestseller. What message do you want to convey to the world? If you could say one thing to the world that they'll listen to, and they'll say, Brian Swanson said that. Just a Be Nice book. Rev?
Me? Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question. I think what I would say is don't sell yourself short and go for it. Right? I mean, like there's most people just have a limiting thing, a limiter, where it's like, oh, I could never run 100 miles, or I could never run a marathon, or I could never even run. Some people can't even run. I can't even run it.
Well, it doesn't even have to be about running. It could be like, I could never get that job. I could never, learn that skill. It could be any number of things. So
Right.
I guess mine would be, and I don't mean to single out an age group here, but let's just talk to the millennials for a minute. If you want something to change, especially for the better, it starts with you.
Nice.
I think I would say, don't say no to an adventure. A true adventure, if you get the opportunity for something that is special, work it out. Go do it.
That'll be said at your funeral one day, regardless, I feel like.
Never say no to an adventure.
Yeah.
I like that one. Can I steal that one?
Yeah, you can have it. You can borrow it.
Treat each other with respect.
Nice. Mine would be along the lines of what Rev said, that there's a place for you. Wherever it is that you don't feel like you belong, if you want to be there, there's...
Like running that 100-miler?
There's... Like running that 100-miler. Like getting into ultras. I got into this with the 50-mile being so outside of anything that was ever possible, and I achieved that. And there's a place for me here. And there's a place for me in the 100 if that's what I choose to do. And that day, it would be ignorant to say that day won't come where I wake up and say that's what I want to do, because that's the way that I operate. But it ain't going to be this day.
Got plenty more days left in the year, so
that's right.
It's a good thing.
And it's a long year.
It's a long year.
All right, I've got my favorite shirt that Steve Wilkes sent me, the CrossFit Open shirt from last year. I finally threw it in the garbage.
I saw it.
And it was so hard for me, but it just stinks so bad. Do y'all have any of those like gym shirts or trail shirts that even when you wash them, as soon as you get even remotely warm
at all,
it just like...
Mine's gotten to where it just sits there and stinks everything else up.
And so do you throw it away or do you keep it?
No, that's my favorite race shirt.
Yeah.
I wear it every race.
My race pants are like that.
Oh.
You're the one that really pointed it out the last time I was running. You're like, those things stink. I was like, but they're awesome.
Is this still hypothetical or is this just a question?
No, well, it came up with a hypothetical. I'm just wanting to know if you have this issue and do you know how to solve it? Is there a way to solve the stinky shirt?
Man, I've thrown the Clorox at it.
So wash. You got to wash.
We've washed it in vinegar. We've soaked in vinegar. We've done everything.
I've done vinegar.
We've done vinegar.
April's got this essential oil. I don't remember what it's called, but anyways, she puts it on all the laundry stuff, and it hadn't touched it.
Yeah, nothing's touched mine.
Gavin says you wouldn't have that problem if you just didn't wear a shirt on the trails.
That's a good idea. I'm going to do it. Thanks, Gavin. Or the podcast, or just wherever.
It probably has something to do with all the goo and the salt and all the just weird
crystal
complex
and
carbohydrates we try to take in during all this stuff and then just spew it out on our clothes.
Yeah. All right. So, would you be willing to walk around with a BO stinky shirt forever in exchange for whatever body type you wanted and be a top finisher in all races?
So
You could
can you
be-
take the shirt off, though?
Nah, you got. I
You
mean,
wear
that's
it
your
all
shirt.
the time?
You could take your shirt. Well, I guess if you got a really good body, then you wouldn't need your
I
shirt.
wouldn't want to
So what's the or? What's the or?
You can be at the elite of the elite runners, but in order to do that, you got to wear just a stank ass shirt everywhere. Every shirt that you own.
Would you do it? That's the question.
You can't do it. You got to do it like
Who's first?
But you're looking good.
I'll
though.
go. I'll say no. I would not do that.
No.
Yeah, that seems like I don't know, it's not that important to me.
I can't handle BO.
'Cause
That's the
this one
thing I can't
stinks.
handle. That's like
Yeah, but you can handle your own BO.
yeah, you can. It's not really a problem for you.
This is
No.
sour. This
I
is
can't
this is
handle-
something
Nobody's
else.
gonna
Even my
ever
own
want to be
BO.
around you ever again. But
It might be now anyway.
I can handle all
True.
kinds of gross things in the hospital, but BO is the thing I gag on.
Yeah, I'd probably say no.
Yeah.
Can I give a shout out to my mom right quick?
Okay.
My mom's been in the hospital. She had a minor surgery. I say it's minor. I mean, she had surgery. But she's retired and, older, has trouble getting around sometimes, but she's been doing chair yoga. And with that has come like unbelievable improvement and just, things like standing up out of a flat chair, and lifting her leg and bouncing on one foot.
Getting in my car.
Getting in the car.
Those are big steps.
They are big steps, and it gets away from you so quick. And it's one of my biggest fears because I can turn around. I can have a Thanksgiving weekend and turn around and be 450.
Has she been doing the CBD oil? Anything like that?
She's all over that.
Yeah, I heard magical things that occur with that. I mean, from dogs to people.
Yep.
And even more interested in she's done it. She loves it. And now she's like really about it.
Yeah, yeah. My folks got on it, and they're seems like different people.
Are they really?
I need to get
They're
that
in a
from
good
Mom.
way. Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, the importance of something, and she does like we all do, and wants to qualify it's just chair yoga or whatever. I'm like, that's killer
Tell her
stuff.
to keep
man.
taking it, and maybe we'll see her walking tall.
What's your mom's name?
Elaine.
She's watching.
Oh, good.
Hello, Elaine.
Oh.
Congratulations.
She commented earlier.
Good.
She
the
said
improvement.
she said half here.
Well, I'll be
That was
over
her
there
comment.
after this. I'll be going back over there to sit with her.
So I just have to say, walking tall, when I finished and I hugged Brian and Sean, I broke down crying and told them it was the hardest 50K that I've ever ran actually the hardest race I've ever ran in my whole life. That was a hard race.
She
It
gave me
was
probably the
mentally-
strongest hug I had all day there. I remember your hug. It was like I was like, wow, she really
She had the
it
BO
in the-
going. Just like the question.
But I didn't have the body, so. But that was so hard. Just oh gosh, that
I was emotional.
That was mentally just draining and emotionally rough.
That was a fulfilling race. That was a hard race, and getting to the end of that distance was worthwhile.
I will remember Melissa. Is it Melissa Burgess? Is that how you say her last name? I got the first name right. When she came up and gave us a hug and said she wanted us a picture, she said, "Come here and I need to take a picture with you, sadistic sons of bitches," or whatever. So that always stuck in my brain.
All right, we're out of time. Where do people go to register for Big Hill Pond?
www.ultrasignup.com, and if you type in walking tall, it'll pull right up. Just register. Or you can go to the the website, which is www.walkingtall50k.com. Either one of those.
And if you're on Facebook, you need to join the.
Yeah, join the group. That group is for everybody. It's closed. You just ask to be a part of it, and we'll let you in. But it's only closed to keep out people that don't have the same like mind and the same interest. I mean, it's just invite everybody. If you've got friends that want to be there, bring them on in.
Awesome.
Well, y'all really good to lift heavy, run long during the race, and promoting us and allowing us to be a part of it, and we appreciate that.
Well,
I want to show
appreciate
my
you.
art before. I want to give a couple shout outs.
Do it.
Can you see
Yeah,
this?
and while he's getting his stuff, the race gave, the race is 100% non-for-profit, and we gave a huge check to the park last year, as well as the Tennessee Rangers Association, which is their scholarship fund.
Oh, nice.
So at the end of the day, the runners raised,
Hold that, good sir.
the race raised a little over $14,000 in direct money for the park.
$14,000.
$14,000, and we gave $3,500 to the Tennessee Rangers. Basically, it's a scholarship fund. So almost 20,000 hard dollars went to the park and the sport that we love, as well as we repaired almost 30 miles of true trail at Big Hill Pond State Park. So I appreciate everybody that's supported us over the last, it's been a dream for years, but especially over the last 2 years, pulling it all together, because it was more than either one of us could imagine, I think.
Did you already mention that the big sponsors are already back on board?
Yeah, no, I did not. So we've got the Bank of McNairy County that's back on board. They were a last-minute but banner sponsor. We've got Ultra back on board. We have Flat Hat Beer back on board, so plenty of good drinks at the finish line. We've got Guadalajara restaurant is providing the burritos again for the race. So everybody's already verbally committed, and we're rolling. So
we're going to add a fire at the start-finish area so that if you're cold and want to warm up, you have an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, we're going to add the fire because
roast your mellows.
If you are a two-time finisher, you're going to get the same bat, except we're going to brand a 2 or maybe 2 bats.
Yeah, bring your
so
bat
you'll
back.
You'll get a new bat, except we're going to brand, when you come across, then you'll go to the fire pit.
You have to carry your
and
bat.
we'll brand something on there to recognize, so you don't have the same metal on your wall every time. You'll know that, this is from number 2, so you can have something a little bit different to remember us by.
Fantastic.
So a shout out to this. We were given this first. Me and Brian both received one, and I think Todd maybe received one too.
Todd, he
than
did a ton of
McCall
trail.
Wilson. A shadow box from the state park, and Justin King and his wife provided us with this, and they did all this themselves and completely surprised us with it. It's a little memento from kind of every piece of the race that we did, from a marketing on the beginning to the finisher awards, and he actually, I'm assuming, did some kind of bandsaw or something and split one of these bats down in the middle, all of them down the middle.
It's amazing. It looks awesome.
And then David Taylor did this artwork by hand.
Totally cool.
And it's got all kinds of cool stuff. You'd really have to just look real close to it. My favorite part is the deer fly.
The deer fly. If you've
down
been
here.
there in the summertime
Holy
working on those
moly.
trails or running, there are plenty of deer flies down there.
Yeah, it's they make these patches that you put on the back of your neck. And somebody, I think David, actually tried one at another park, and when you take it off, because they all swarm around your back of your head, and they just get stuck to it. And when you take it off, it's got like dozens of flies.
Dozens of flies.
It's like
It's horse
sticky
flies.
tape.
Yeah, it's like sticky tape. So they're probably still alive when they're sitting there running with you.
You're running with 12.5 horse flies.
So that's all I got, though. I appreciate you letting us come on.
All right, thanks for being here. Lift Heavy Run Long number 135 is in the books.
Peace.